Today, an insider says that the San Diego Padres outfielder Jurickson Profar could be in the Mets' plans. Tanner Scott comes off the free agent board, and Kevin Plawecki hangs up the cleats. We're talking about all of that on this special edition of Mets Digest. What's going on, everybody? Flobo Boyce here, Mets fan from day one, rocking with the orange and blue, and thanking you for making us part of your Mets content diet. Myself, alongside Mike D'Angelo, we make sure that we give you the content you need. And if you're watching right now and you're liking what we're putting down, do us a favor, like the video, comment on the video because I read them all, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And of course, tell a friend about the channel because that's how we grow. Over 3,000 of us are growing day by day. But top story today, as I live and breathe, we're getting a little bit more of an insight of what the final construction of the 2025 Mets are going to look like. I, for one, cannot have predicted how this would go. Pete Alonso would have been signed on my fantasy board 2 months ago, but as of right now in this recording, he is still a free agent. But Jurickson Profar, one of the standout performers of the 2024 season with the San Diego Padres, especially when someone called him irrelevant, found a way to step up and really become a star in Southern California. But now an insider, Robert Murray, who contributes to Fansided, is saying the Mets are looking at Profar to add them to their plans. Of course, we got Jose Siri in the outfield, and you also have Juan Soto. But if you think of the outfield depth right now, Starling Marte and Tyrone Taylor can be moved or used accordingly to make sure that it can accommodate someone of Profar's talent. Robert Murray writes, he says, the Mets, could use the money saved by not signing Alonso, say outfielder Jurickson Profar and or another player. Jurickson Profar is a player of interest to the Mets. They have shown interest in the free agent slugger for the majority of the offseason and would add depth and leadership to the outfield. With Profar coming off a season which he hit 280, 380, 459 with 24 home runs and 85 RBI in 3.6 innings. Now, this is important for a bunch of reasons. Now, you're not going to find a one-for-one swap for Pete Alonso. It's just not going to happen. He has a very unique profile. He hits homers, but he definitely strikes out a lot. If the rumors are true, and we actually reported that on the Mets Digest channel a couple of days ago, that the Mets are looking at plan B, C's, D, E's, and F's if they decide to pivot away from Pete Alonso. They're going to have to find ways to get that power back on the board. You're not going to find it one player besides Vladimir Guerrero, but let's be honest, you got to think about a world if that's not possible if the Toronto Blue Jays still want to play ball. Does Jurickson Profar fit into the profile of the New York Mets? Absolutely. Here's somebody who is athletic in the outfield, and even though he has his shortcomings, it definitely could be surrounded and offer protection to other people in the lineup. The question becomes, how does he get this done, and who's going to be the odd man out? Even though it pains me to say this personally, because he's actually one of my favorite players in the team, Starling Marte is at the end of his current contract. I don't really see much of a future of him beyond being extended, especially at his age. I think he was born in 1988. He's pretty much one of the older players on the team. And so if you want to get someone who still has a couple more years of use, you do get Profar. That's somebody you want to have in the mix. And also someone I really do like a lot, number 15, Tyrone Taylor. I want to see him do a little bit more himself, but I got a feeling he's really much in that, hey, can you prove it again situation, much like how his 2024 season moving forward. But I want to ask you this as we move forward. Jurickson Profar wasn't on my board starting of the offseason. I'm not projecting him to sign with the New York Mets, but imagine if he did today. Will this be a good pickup for the team? I really want to know what it looks like because, this is really the first David Stearns offseason, and understanding the strategy, what he's looking at, has been a moving target if there ever was one. I mean, props to him, to be honest with you. I'm always confused of what is on his mind. Let's take a look at the stats in depth. Definitely has the power we're talking about and definitely can really contribute to multiple positions on the lineup and can be slotted up and down that lineup if Mendoza were to use him, if he was in the original 9. And of course, at age 31, he's not exactly a spring chicken, but he's definitely younger than Starling Marte, which would be the person I would presume he would replace if it would be a one-to-one situation. But yes, I really want to know what you think about the idea if Profar was going to be on the team. But to tell you that was the only thing happening with the baseball world, I'll be lying to you, and Flopito doesn't want to lie. A couple days ago, we reported as well that AJ Minter is going to be in the bullpen, on the pitching staff in 2025, and a lot of people were asking, why didn't we get Tanner Scott? And even though there was an idea of Tanner Scott wanting to be a closer and the idea of having him with Edwin Diaz as possible, we kind of felt that Tanner would be a first option and AJ Minter would be a plan C or D. Well, we got a reason why. As on Sunday, January 19th, Tanner Scott is now officially a Los Angeles Dodger. And even though this is not Dodgers Digest, which is a channel that exists, but I don't recommend you follow them because it's not us, I asked this question. I mean, how are you feeling right now with the way the Dodgers are doing business? I can't knock Roki Sasaki being a young player trying to be with a strong team, and I can't knock someone like Tanner Scott signing a deal with the Dodgers, but it does seem interesting that this one squad is getting all those affinity stones like Thanos. But over there at Mass Live, Tanner Scott, one of the older teams, the Boston Red Sox, took a perspective on the deal, offering some insight. They said left-hander Tanner Scott agreed to a 4-year, $72 million contract. That's big money, y'all, to go to the powerhouse Dodgers on Saturday, as first reported by MLB.com's Mark Feinsand. The deal is tied to the third highest average annual value ever given to a reliever and reinforces a stacked Dodgers pitching staff that already added Blake Snell and Roki Sasaki this winter. And you know, Snell didn't have a good year last year, but he's kind of an every other year kind of guy. He may be due. Scott, who posted a stellar 1.75 ERA in 72 innings with Miami and San Diego last year, was always going to cash in. Again, get the bag, do what's best for your family. And again, the Dodgers want to give you that money by all means. But I want to take a step back. I know there's some people out there who say the Dodgers are ruining baseball, and maybe they are. But it's kind of interesting how they are just stacked. A team has already won the chip. I'm starting to wonder, what are they afraid of? They already won the world. They embarrassed the Yankees. Of course, they want more. Maybe they're just looking for the Phillies to come on back. In fact, it's just such a damaging thing. My phone just quit and jumped off the side of my table. But the Dodgers add another one, Tanner Scott. He's off the board for the Mets, obviously, which kind of makes more sense about the AJ Minter acquisition this week. Everything has context. Again, I only bring this up not to gloat or not to lament about the situation, but understanding the moving targets we talked about that Dave Stearns has to navigate this season. And Tanner Scott has definitely contributed a lot to his sides and to his squads, and to be able to do that for a new team will be definitely something that he plans to do in 2025. Here's his numbers at a glance. Again, just really doing solid work. Definitely he's going to get the bag. Definitely with a team that can use him, especially if the injury bug bites the Dodgers like they bit them in 2024. But they do get Shohei back at least May of this year. Roki Sasaki may take some adjustment going into the Major League rotation. And we still don't really have full confirmation about guys like Miller or Flaherty as well. I'm not sure they're going to stay with the Dodgers. I think people don't project them to, but options upon options for the boys in blue. And I mentioned this on top of that when it comes to making big deals for guys like a Vladimir Guerrero or for high grade pitching or outfield or infield help, because to beat the Dodgers, they're in your league. You got to really fight fire with fire. And finally, I do think that we are in a situation where we have the resources to do so and the problem to really upgrade what needs to be. And finally tonight, Mets legend Kevin Plawecki hangs up the cleats, most recently playing in the Texas Rangers organization. He's going to retire, as he mentioned, on Saturday, January 18th, to take a job inside the Padres organization. Shout out to Stan Conan with Sports Illustrated, who really put this succinctly and said, veteran catcher Kevin Plawecki is retired from baseball. He announced Saturday on his Instagram. There comes a time where all good things must come to an end. Plawecki wrote, as a player, it's time for me to move on. I've been blessed to play this game my whole life, including the last 13 years professionally. I cannot thank every team enough for the opportunities to wear their uniforms. I did not take it for granted. Plawecki played 8 seasons in the big league, most recently suiting up for the Texas Rangers in 2022, as we mentioned, and he appeared in 75 games with the San Diego Padres AAA affiliate in 2024. I believe that's the Chihuahuas. I'm not really sure. Well, I'm going to say it's the Chihuahuas. Batting .260 with 11 home runs, a 38 RBI, and a 783 OPS. Hey, man, not going to be light the world on fire, but that is definitely some solid numbers. It was a dog for us when he played in Queens. And sometimes someone who puts their head down, someone who puts their nose to the grindstone, they may not be the one you see in lights, but that's the kind of grit we kind of like and appreciate, especially being a little bit of a hometown hero. Filling in for us, filling in on the offensive side too every once in a while, even though it was more of a defensive catcher to be at least. Well, that does it for me at the end of the video. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below. But the Tanner Scott acquisition, Jurickson Profar going to Queens, does that light your world on fire? Are you still asking more questions? I am curious to hear what you think. That does it for me on this edition of Mets Digest. As always, my name is Flobo Boyce, and it's LGM to the bitter end.